1. The confident man. Solid, not arrogant confidence is magnetic. But let's be clear, we're not talking about loud, arrogant chest thumping. Real confidence is calm, steady, and quietly powerful. Women can sense when a man knows who he is, stands by his values, and doesn't need external validation to feel worthy. In fact, a study from the University of Queensland showed that women rated confident men as significantly more attractive than shy or boastful ones. Why? Because confidence signals emotional stability and capability. It's the guy who can walk into a room, crack a self-deprecating joke, and shrug off rejection like it's no big deal. He doesn't overthink every text, doesn't spiral when plans change, and doesn't try to impress. He just is. That quiet self-assurance is rare in a world of fake bravado and insecurity masked by material flexing. When you radiate genuine confidence, you create a sense of safety and clarity. Women don't want a guy who constantly doubts himself. They want someone who knows his worth, even while growing. Be the guy who doesn't need to shout. Let your presence speak louder than your words, and remember, confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward anyway, knowing you've got what it takes. 2. The purpose-driven man. There's nothing sexier than a man on a mission. Women are naturally drawn to guys who have a clear direction in life. You don't need to be launching the next tech startup or running a Fortune 500 company. But if you're just drifting through life with no goals, it's a turnoff. Purpose equals movement, and movement equals attraction. A study from Rutgers University found that women are more attracted to men who demonstrate drive and determination, especially in long-term relationship contexts. Why? Because it signals reliability and long-term stability. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how seriously you take your own growth. Do you have a vision? Are you working towards something that excites you, challenges you, even scares you a little? That fire is what makes her lean in. Purpose also makes you less needy. When your life is full and meaningful, you're not waiting for someone to complete you. You're inviting someone to join the journey. So find your purpose, whether it's creative, career, physical, or spiritual, and pursue it with consistency. When you have something that fuels you, you become the kind of man women want to support, grow with, and never walk away from. 3. The emotionally intelligent man. This is the guy who knows how to listen, and not just hear. Women crave emotional connection, but most men fail to offer it. Emotional intelligence, EQ, means understanding your own emotions, recognizing hers, and responding in a calm, supportive way. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that emotional responsiveness from men was one of the top predictors of relationship satisfaction for women. In other words, if you can hold space for her feelings without shutting down or fixing everything, you're already ahead of 90% of men. Here's the kicker. Being emotionally intelligent doesn't make you soft. It makes you strong. It means you don't lash out, you don't crumble under pressure, and you don't take everything personally. You're the guy she can open up to because she knows you'll get it. Or at least try to. You know when to give her space, when to lean in, and when to just shut up and let her cry without trying to turn it into a TED Talk. Be the guy who's self-aware, emotionally grounded, and capable of real empathy. That's not weakness. That's elite-level strength in today's emotional desert. 4. The calm protector women aren't just looking for muscles, they're looking for presence. They want to know, when life gets chaotic, can you stay grounded? Can you protect, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally? This doesn't mean being controlling or possessive. It means being dependable. Can you stay calm when plans fall apart? Can you hold her hand through the storm without panicking? Neuroscience research supports this. When a woman feels emotionally safe with her partner, her stress levels drop, and bonding hormones like oxytocin increase. This creates not only attraction, but trust and long-term connection. Think of the guy who doesn't yell when traffic is bad, who doesn't freak out when she's overwhelmed, who says, "We've got this," instead of, "Why are you being so emotional?" In a world full of unpredictable, anxious men, be the one who's stable, the one who gives her peace, not more chaos. If you want to be irresistible, Don't just protect her from danger. Protect her from the exhaustion of always having to be strong. She'll never forget how safe you made her feel. 5. The mysterious man. Intrigue over information. Let's talk mystery. Why do women fall for the guy who's a little hard to read? Simple. Mystery fuels attraction. If you lay out your whole life story, every insecurity, every random opinion, and your entire Spotify Wrapped on the first date, you kill the spark. Mystery creates anticipation. It makes her wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what's behind that confident smirk. This doesn't mean playing mind games or being emotionally unavailable. It means leaving some pages unturned. Psychologically, this taps into the Zeigarnik effect. People remember incomplete information more than completed ones. If she feels like she hasn't figured you out yet, she stays curious. And curiosity keeps her coming back. Bad boys have mastered this by accident. They don't overshare, they don't overreact, and they rarely explain themselves. That restraint is magnetic. But the truth is, you don't need to be bad, just intentional. Keep some things for later. Let her ask. Let her discover you slowly. Be warm, but not wide open, because when she feels like there's more to you than what's on the surface, she's hooked. Not because you're hiding, but because you're worth uncovering. 6. The well-groomed and stylish man. Let's not kid ourselves. Looks matter. But it's not about being the hottest guy in the room. It's about presenting yourself like you actually care. Women don't expect six-pack abs and a chiseled jawline, though hey, good for you if you have them. What they're really drawn to is a man who's put together. That means clean nails, fresh breath, clothes that fit, not just exist. Style shows self-respect. It tells the world, I've got standards. And that confidence translates into attraction. Studies from Princeton University suggest people form judgments about trustworthiness and competence within 1/10 of a second based on appearance alone. You don't have to wear designer brands. Just find what fits, own your style, and for the love of all things attractive, ditch the socks with slides combo unless you're mowing the lawn. Grooming is also tied to effort. When you trim your beard, moisturize your skin, and wear a scent that doesn't smell like high school gym class, it shows you value presentation. Not for others, but for yourself. And that, right there, is irresistible. A well-groomed man communicates, I'm intentional, I'm disciplined, and I'm a grown man, which just so happens to be what women are looking for. 7. The socially savvy man, with pre-selection energy. Ever noticed how women are more interested in a guy who already seems to have women around him? That's not a coincidence. It's called pre-selection. When women see that other women like you, their brain subconsciously thinks, there must be something special about this one. It's the same reason you'll choose a crowded restaurant over an empty one. Social proof matters, even in love. You don't need a harem. Just be the guy who's socially at ease, someone who treats women with respect, gets along with people, and isn't a creep around female friends. That signals value. Evolutionary psychologists explain that women are wired to pick up on cues that a man is desirable to other women. It's biology doing its thing. So go out, talk to people, make women laugh without trying to seduce every one of them. Be that guy who's friendly, confident, and charismatic, not thirsty. When she sees you in your element, getting genuine smiles and attention, she can't help but think, what does he have that they're all drawn to? Answer, confidence, respect, and a social flow that says, I'm the prize. That's the energy she can't resist. 8. The man who knows his worth, but stays humble. You know what's truly irresistible? A man who knows his value and doesn't need to broadcast it. The guy who has standards, goals, and confidence, but isn't a jerk about it. There's something incredibly attractive about a man who respects himself enough to walk away from disrespect, yet kind enough to lift others up. That combo is rare, and women can spot it instantly. When you know your worth, you don't chase validation. You don't beg for attention. You choose your relationships wisely. That energy shifts everything. A Harvard Business Review study found that people who combined competence with warmth were rated as the most influential and attractive, not just professionally, but romantically. Knowing your worth means you don't tolerate nonsense, but you also don't throw your ego around. You're self-assured, but open. You take pride in your growth, but you're still teachable. And here's the twist. The guy who knows he doesn't need to impress anyone usually ends up impressing everyone. Because when you carry yourself like someone who belongs at the table, you make others believe it too, including her. Especially her.